Hi, I'm Brian Holt. I'm a product manager at Databricks, and this is Build a Full-Stack Next.js app. I created this course so that we can dive deep on each part of the Next.js stack, so that we can go from code to CI/CD to production. In this course, we will build a full-stack Next.js app with auth, Postgres and Drizzle, caching strategies, AI integration, and then we'll deploy to Vercel with GitHub Actions. Go build complete Next.js apps with confidence. We're going to go create a Next app. We're going to use the create Next app creation thing here. I will say, again, I'm just going to call out here, by the time that this is being watched and after it's been edited, the version of Next is going to be going up constantly. And in particular with Next, they do ship a decent amount of breaking changes. So you're probably going to have to fix these things as we go. Like, notice this is saying at latest, like you might be watching when Next 17's out and they might have broken some other things. It's just kind of going to have to go. This will be written on Next 16, which came out like this week. Luckily, there was no breaking changes between 15 and 16 that affected this course. So I think you're pretty safe. I didn't use any of like the frontier features here. We are using TurboPack, but that's now stable. So yeah. Oh yeah, I got to go update this. It says 15. We are using 16. Yeah. So let's copy and paste this. I'm just going to go on my desktop. And npx create next app at latest. And I'm going to call it wiki masters because that's what I called my wiki. You can call it whatever you want though. It's going to ask you some questions. You say yes to proceed. And I'm going to say customize settings. So yes, we want TypeScript. I chose to use Biome. I have no problem with ESLint or anything like that. But it just seemed to be kind of like the new thing that people were using. So I gave it a shot here. Honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're running your lint rules, I don't really care. And then there's like OXLint coming out as well. Oxlint. OXC. Okay. Okay, it is called Oxlint. I'm not crazy. This is from the Vite team. So I would say expect to start seeing this more as well, but it's not built into Next yet, so I'm not going to do it. So we'll use Biome. Do you want to use React compiler? You know, you could say yes here. I'm going to say no because I did not build this course with the React compiler, which just shipped with the Next 16. If you want, like, there's a whole section of my last course on React compiler. You can check that out. This would probably work. I'm just fearful that I built this entire course without it, that it's going to break stuff. And it's not really that important to what we're doing. So we're going to say no for now. Yes, use Tailwind. Yes, we want a source directory. We do want to use app router. We do want to use TurboPack. We do want to customize the import alias. Super nice to do this. I'll show you what this means when we get there. Oh, sorry, don't customize it, but we do want to use it. And there we go. That will create for you a new Next.js app. Okay, we're going to go in here, npm install. Everything's all good. And we're going to say npm run dev. Localhost 3000. And there we go. We're done. That's the entire course. Full stack Next. No, this actually looks a little bit nicer than I used to. That's cool. You get this little Next dev tool down here. It'll give you a bunch of stuff of like what kind of route this is TurboPack enabled. Yeah, all very cool stuff. And let's just go ahead and open this in code. So let's kind of orient ourselves here. We have our source directory, and inside of the source directory, there's the app directory. That is the app router as opposed to the page router, which is the next concept. Got some globals, layout. This is the layout's going to be like something that's going to apply on every page. So you'll see on here they'll have like their HTML here. and then the children side of it, and then the actual page itself, which is the home page, is going to be this one. Pretty minimal biome configuration here, which is cool. Next config, there's usually not much here. Pretty bog standard TypeScript configuration. I mean, nothing here should really surprise you too much. If you're taking this course, you've probably seen this before, right? We're going to write a seed script here really quick, but let's go add this to our package.json really quick. So we're going to have a few scripts. We're going to have a db generate, and this is going to be drizzle kit generate. We're going to have a db migrate, and that's going to be drizzle kit migrate. And then we're going to have one's called db seed, and that's going to be tsx source db seed.ts. Also, we're going to have to install tsx. Just lets you run TypeScript files as node files, and you don't have to like do all the compilation. So you just install npm-d tsx. All right, so now I have tsx, and I have all these db. I wrote a little seed file for you here, so I have a link to it here somewhere. So yeah, just grab the raw file here. And here in db, call this seed.ts. So, oh yeah, we also need to export here in index.ts as well. Export const SQL equals SQL. Huh, that's weird. Or export SQL. Or rather, you can just put export here. I don't know what I'm doing. Export like that. Okay. Reason being is that seed file needs it. So what this is going to do is it's going to start a db seed. Like seed is just like putting a bunch of rows into the database, so that you can have like some real data to work on. It's going to delete everything that's already in the database. They have something called db or seed.reset, but I found that it's not resetting the primary key, which is like this restart identity cascade. So I did not use that for that reason. This will then go find real users that you have existing in your database, and it'll associate those to articles. So the one thing that this seed file will not work unless you have at least one user in your database. So please make sure you have at least one. If you've already signed up for as yourself, this should work just fine. And then here you can see db, which we just imported from our index, right? This is how you query it. Select from order by, like it's all very SQL-ish. And then it uses drizzle seed, which just like, you say like, here's some values to use, like author ID. It says values from array. These values I got from the users table. You can give it however many things you want. Title, it's just going to be like lorem ipsum. This one will say everything will be true. This will create random timestamps. And the same thing here with slugs. It's just going to be some random string. Okay, then it'll insert all of that. It does some of this to make sure that the primary keys get reset. And that's it. So right now, everything will be offered by me because I only have one user in my database. But let's see if that works. npm run db seed. Okay. Now, if we go back over to our Neon console and we refresh here, you should see here that we have 25 items in our database. So one thing I was going to show you is that you can see this user sync thing. This will show me like this, it's referring to this user in the other database. So you can actually click in there to see what it's actually referencing with the foreign key, which I thought was pretty cool. Let's try and redeploy now. Redeploy and see how we do. View deployment. So you can see, let's talk, like while this is building, let's talk about normally how I would do builds and how I do it a little bit different with Vercel. Normally, I like to have my CI/CD, so my continuous integration on GitHub Actions, build the product or project after it successfully runs all the tests. That way the supply chain's like really clear of like, this commit ran these tests with this lint, it passed all of these things, and in the same line I can see this accomplished this, and this is the build artifact out of it. I like seeing that all of that in one space where I can guarantee this built in and passed tests, and here is the artifact that came from it. I don't do that with Vercel because Vercel is like has a bunch of stupid tricks around building Next, and it also has a bunch of like functionality around building Next. So I run my tests still on GitHub Actions. Vercel doesn't do that for you, but I do let Vercel build everything because then you get like preview environments and a bunch of other stuff for free. Oh, we forgot StackAuth. Can't forget StackAuth. Okay. So let's go to our settings one more time. We have to go to our friends on Neon, and we got to get it's configuration. Need API keys. Well, we could just grab them from local as well, because it's going to be the same ones. So these two. Nope, these three. The nice thing is if you do this through the Vercel marketplace, the other way where like Vercel bills you instead of Neon, the Neon auth actually does get set up all for you, which is nice. Okay, so we have that. We're going to Vercel, environment variables. We're going to use this for everything. So all environments. It's going to yell at you because, which is actually appropriate. When you put next underscore public underscore, it means that these can be used publicly. Now, next public stack publishable key, right? It's meant to be published, right? These are like client-side keys, whereas like you don't want that on here, but it is warning you of like, hey, this looks like a key. Are you sure you want to send this to production? And the answer is yes, we do. Okay, there we go. Redeploy. Do it this time. Otherwise, I quit. View deployment. So you can get beefier build servers so that these get built for free. Our project builds pretty quickly, so I'm not super worried about it. Yeah, this should build and this should go out, and we should now end up with a production deployment of our app, which will be cool. So for one of you that was going through setting this up with Vercel for the first time, did it have you install a GitHub app? It's been so long since I've done this that I don't remember how it did it. So that you signed up for a Vercel account today, you connected it to your repo, and it didn't ask you to install any like GitHub integrations? Okay. Well, we'll see if the next part works or not. If it doesn't, stop me, and then we'll go figure out why it doesn't work. Oh my God, Vercel, you're killing me. 2 cron jobs. All right, let's go delete the other one. This is so annoying. I'm so upset. Do I just upgrade to premium Vercel? So what it's getting mad about is it allows you to have 1 cron job per project, and I have one here and this one. Fullstack Next Wiki. Cron jobs. Can I just disable you? Is that enough? Failing my build is like, it's like the worst way to tell me that. Vercel, I'm pleased by your little ghost, but I'm displeased by this. Like, please tell me that at the beginning, like, so I'm not halfway through my build and you're like, you have 2 cron jobs, ha ha ha. I do like this product. To be super fair, like there's so many nice things about this that like when I run into paper cuts like this, I'm so disappointed. Okay, can you just rebuild, redeploy? This was the one that did, yeah, okay. See what they recommend here. Yeah, we can build multiple environments simultaneously. So you can like say like, all right, here's what my preview deployment, here's what my staging deployment, and here's what my production deployment. We're not going to do that today, but you definitely could. You could switch to their premium deploy product, which builds faster because it just has bigger machines for it. I don't really think it would speed up our deployment that quickly. Like we don't really have that intense of a project, but if you had a huge project, it actually makes a huge difference. Prevent front and back. I wonder how they do that. I don't know. Skew protection. Interesting. But it's of course comes with an upgrade. So deployments here. Let's see how we're doing. Is it getting yelled at for having too many crons again? Probably. Deployment checks. Are we down here yet? No. We're not going to put any deployment checks on here because essentially what it's going to watch GitHub automatically for us. And if our GitHub tests don't pass, it won't create a new deployment for us, which is cool.
How would we configure a GitHub action for this?
I will show you. It's the next thing that we're going to do. Well, it's after the next thing we're going to do. It used to be like you had to go and like install a GitHub app. The GitHub app had to like call Vercel to say, okay, I finished. Here are the results of my GitHub actions. If you have a public repo, which I imagine most of you probably do right now, it can just see that now and you don't have to set up anything. It'll just call its own API and get that information. Also, if you configure it to deploy from a private repo, I think it should be able to do that as well, just via like webhooks. But if you do have it like running on Azure DevOps or somewhere else it's not GitHub Actions, there's an API for you to call to say, my build is done, here are the results of my build. I passed, I failed, all those kind of things. So you are not necessarily tied just to GitHub Actions. It's just like the one that fits really well with it. Okay, looks like we built okay. That's cool. Oh, and we're ready. So if you click visit, it worked. We are out there.